Hello, good evening. Welcome to Monday night, everybody. Just making sure I've got the sound off. There's not going to be any nasty feedback. Here's a chart of Bitcoin, because today is all about Bitcoin. And good grief, look where we are. Isn't this fantastic? I'm really happy. I tell you why I'm really happy, and why I think that this is more bullish than people think it is. I'm going to start on a weekly chart, and this is Binance. And Tether, it doesn't matter, we can do it on all of the charts. But if we think that this, so that what we're looking at is the rally from the December 18 low, this first leg up. So if we're really bullish, we want to think that this is a 5-wave, wave 1, isn't it? And then this is wave 2, and we're starting wave 3. And if this is wave 3, then we're about to start probably wave 3 of 3, which should be the strongest move. One of the reasons that I've been a little bit down about Bitcoin is where we stopped, because the alternative that this is just an ABC correction, or some people have this as a triangle, a contracting triangle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and they see one more swing lower before we continue up again. And if that was the case, if we measure from this first swing low to high here and project it here, where we got stuck was the 61.8 of this first leg. And that's very common in an ABC correction. In fact, I'll take the fibs away. That's very common in an ABC correction for that 61.8 level to be resistance. The good news about it is it's also support. So normally when you get above those levels, you should hold above them. So in Binance here, in Tether, we shouldn't go back below 10,465. If we look at that same level at Bitstamp, let's clean up this chart. Hold on. Take these fib levels off. This also measure from this low to this high, this 61.8 level, 10,444 was really strong support and resistance. So that's where we shouldn't close on a pullback. If we have a pullback tomorrow, or if we have a reversal, we should not close below 10,444 here on this chart. And if we do, and if we hold above it, then we should continue higher from here. You know, one of my things is third touches of trend lines are very often false breakouts. And we've already did this here. Look, we had 1 touch, 2 touch. This was our third touch false breakout, pulled back to support, and now we've broken out for real. And that also means that if we hold above 10,400 and XX, whatever it is at your exchange, where are we looking for next? Well, if this is still an ABC correction, then, or one of those bearish equal measured moves, then our target's going to be 14,520. And so if we stop here and roll over and come back, and even if we come back then below 10,444, we will have definitely made an ABC correction, and this will be a big leg down and a B leg, and then we will see another big leg lower. So that would be the first place that we're looking. If we go beyond 14,520, then we can look for 17,400, and if we go to 1.618 of this first leg, happy days. That's at 21,000. That would be a marginal new high. It's very common for wave 3s to be 1.618 or 2.618 of wave 1. And then if we get up here, then we would expect a 38.2 or something, put 40% pullback, and then a wave 4, and then continue higher. So that would be really bullish. So that's why I'm really bullish. You can see, whether you use fibs or whatever, that this is a trend line breakout. This is a breakout above structure. This is everything that we wanted to see. It's just a matter of now of, can we hold it? Is it gonna? It's not going to be one of those fake out on a weekly chart. We could see very easily, a close back underneath it, and it would just be a sort of a weekly swing failure pattern. So the retest is always the test. If we look back on the daily, this big up move, 50% back of this candle, and a retest of 10,004. If you're all looking at this and you're going, oh, I really think this is going to keep going, I can't believe I couldn't get in, so on, then that's where you should be stalking an entry. Pull back to those highs. And maybe, it might be tricky because it's Bitcoin and everybody might be looking at it. But if we can hold above here, I wouldn't if you're looking for a retest of this broken trend line, I don't think we'll get it. I think we're going to see a bit of a short squeeze. So many people took profit in Bitcoin. I'm one of them. I didn't get out completely, but I did take profit. So many people took profit in Bitcoin and are looking at this and going, oh. So, and looking how they can get back in. So we're not going to see a big, deep pullback, I don't think. 10,400 might be it. So that's why I'm nice and bullish. And yeah, that level seals the deal. Now, that's the level at Bitstamp. We've looked at Binance. Let's look at Deribit, because that's a kind of a good amalgamated price. I've got little short-term swings on here, tidy up this chart. Okay, and we'll do the same thing, okay? So the swing from, remember, the December 18 low to this high, project it from here. This 61.8, where this swing was where we got stuck. Here it's at 2000, if I've drawn it right, and I sometimes don't. Let me make sure. Yeah, I've drawn it right. Here it's 10,500. So you might find at the fiat exchanges that price is a little bit lower. So 10,275. Let me look at a couple more. Coinbase. Let's see what that level price is at. So we'll do the same thing here. Again, we'll tidy up our chart. We'll mark the low. So around there, 10,200, 10,400, depending on whether you're at a fiat exchange or I've done that wrong. So I'm using this thing called a trend-based fib extension. So you can measure the swings relatively. It's one of my favorite tools. There, just make sure. Don't want to give you a dud price, so it's just a matter of getting it on. There we go. Here at Coinbase, that level is 10,495. So you can see what an important level is. Now, a lot of people will tell you, old-fashioned technical analysts will tell you that this can't be a head and shoulders pattern. Because it's not at the low, at a low. This is a higher high, it's a higher low, isn't it? I say, and I agree with Peter Brandt on this one, that you can have continuation head and shoulders patterns at higher lows, and this, I very much think that that's what this is. And so we could say, you know, looking at this, our head and shoulders pattern is twice the distance from the head to the neckline. Where does that take us up to? It certainly takes us beyond the equal measured move level and up to 17,300. So that would be very nice. Thank you. So that's what I'm looking for in Bitcoin. I'm super bullish. It's moving with gold. It's being helped by a lot of things today. It's being helped by the really bullish move in stock indexes. So in every stock index that we looked at, we pulled back to really important support levels. In the S&P, we'd pull back to this previous swing low, top of the gap. That's where we closed on Friday. Nice bullish move. In the Dow Jones, we'd pulled back to the week to 20 moving average, and we'd made a perfect ABC correction in the Dow Jones. That looked perfect. If we look at the Russell, we'd pull back to the 200 moving average, previous swing low. There was loads to like about this one and to rally from. Same with the NASDAQ, you know, previous swing low, a little bit of a swing failure pattern, but we had a double top. When you break the low in the middle, which we kind of looked at, but we couldn't close below, swing failure pattern in the NASDAQ and a really cool bullish reversal. If we look at this pattern in the Russell and the Dow Jones, you know, when you make a new low and you close up more than 50% up on the previous red candle, that's called a bullish piercing line pattern. If you Google it, went to the pattern site, it's one of the most bullish, most reliable bullish candles that there are. So we've run the stops underneath this red thing, and then we've closed more than 50% up. It's a really nice bullish pattern. And we've got the same thing in the Dow Jones. So looking good for stocks. Now, normally, you see, in America, when you buy or sell a stock or a bond or an ETF, or you the day you transact isn't the day it settles. So it used to take, it's called the T date, is called the transaction date, and then the settlement date used to be 5 days later. Now it's down to 2 or 3 days, T plus 3. So that means if you're a hedge fund and you've been in a stock and you want it to become yours before the month end, and it has to become yours, as it has to settle before month end if you want it to show in your profit and loss, then you're going to ramp it up and sell it, 2 or 3 days before the end of the month. So normally what we see is rallies into month ends. Normally the ends sort of 2 days before the month end. It's called window dressing. It's everybody knows about it, everybody does it, and so that's what I think we're seeing in stock indexes. So we've got some really nice window dressing bullish moves, and we've got the really weak dollar, and both of those are really helping Bitcoin. The weak dollar actually is by far the biggest factor. And tonight, in an hour and 10 minutes from now, the United States government are going to announce the new stimulus package for the economy with the COVID. And that we could find is really quite bearish for the US dollar, because all they seem to do is print money and spend it. And so we could see, we could see more of that. It'd be good for the economy, the stocks will rally, and we'll see more of the weak dollar. So that's where we are. Okay, I've got Bitcoin Cash SV here. We should move on. So that's what I'm looking for in Bitcoin. Now in Ethereum, we broke out before Bitcoin, didn't we? We're not at new highs, as in we're not above the new June highs, but in this one, I think it's really nice and easy to see the pattern in ETH US dollar. This was a higher low, so we're going to start our count here. And so I think whether this is A or wave 1, I think it's 5 waves, but it could also be A. They try and deceive you. And if this is wave 2, we've had a nice ABC, said it was corrective. And now here we are. Probably this is wave 1, 2, and we're starting the really strong phase. So if this is going to be 5 waves up and a wave 3 from here, happy days. If not, I also think we've got some quite strong support and resistance levels that we can use in targets from ETH. These previous highs line up with these lows and highs here at 363. But otherwise, 402 is, if I go all the way out, the big 236 retrace level from the highs that we made in January 2018 in ETH. Now, what would be quite interesting as well, so that's going to be quite tough resistance. Also, so I think if we extend beyond that, 250, 300, 450, so on, it does really love round numbers. So I think if we get up here, that 400 might become a bit of a... I think Trump is speaking now, is he? Okay. Anyway, above 402, we've got big round number 600 for our second upside target, and then 50% of the entire drop takes us to 761. So we'll go stage by stage with this in ETH, and the same way. ETH Bitcoin is the best indicator of all. Let's take a look at ETH Bitcoin. Now I'm going to go to the monthly. So I'm going to start on the monthly chart of this, because we really want to know how much longer it is ETH going to continue to outperform Bitcoin, and so on. So yeah, I'm sorry, we've got really heavy storm here, and it's slowing down our internet a little bit. Hope everything's okay and you're able to watch okay. So a little bit of resistance here. We may pull back, I think, in ETH Bitcoin to these previous highs to look for support. We're almost back there. But clearly we're in a nice new uptrend. The problem is that I can count, they're choppy and overlapping, but I can count 5 waves. And so we need to watch out that we don't end up in a bigger correction in ETH Bitcoin. But yeah, looking really good. And support then, we'll put support this way as well with our 236 fib, because our 236 fib from the lows also lines up with that previous high, and we're going to say 0.02873. Around there's where our support should be. For some reason this is at the wrong level. There we go. Yeah, 0.02873. So a little bit further to fall, but we're not that far off it, are we? If we look at this on a lower time frame in ETH Bitcoin, we've got a double top. This makes it nice and easy. We had a nice little double top at this high. Okay, when you break, so when you have a double top, when you break the pivot in the middle, you expect to go twice the distance. So if this low to high was our first swing, then twice this distance also puts us down to this support and resistance level. So a little bit lower before ETH goes back to maybe outperforming Bitcoin again. Not quite there yet. Watch for support there. Okay, I'm gonna I could talk about ETH and Bitcoin all night, to be honest, but I know everybody wants to talk about other ones, and I know Octavian, I know that Link is starting to move again. Don't worry, we've got Link on the list, so we're going to go in the order of the list, which means that we're going to look at Ripple next. Because everybody's going, oh, is Ripple next? Well, I have to say, against the US dollar, it does look pretty good. The main reason it looks pretty good to me is that it's holding above this 200 moving average. And when we rallied before, in May, we couldn't get above the 200 moving average. That was our resistance. Let me hide this for a second. So that was important resistance when we tried to rally in June. We couldn't get above the 200 moving average, and that's where we knocked back. And when we tried to rally on the 8th of July, we couldn't get above the 200 moving average again, and we got knocked back there. So it's really positive that we're above this 200 moving average. Not only that, but it was really positive that where we pulled back to and found support is yeah, now Min Wild says wave 4 is overlapping wave 1 in ETH Bitcoin. Yes, it is. There are some really there are some really funky rules, and I'm not an expert on them, but I do know that a leading diagonal, which can be wave 1, can be overlapping. It can look corrective, and in fact it could be an ABC, and you can get away with it by calling it a leading diagonal, and it can only happen in wave 1. Okay, and so that's why but I agree, it makes me personally go, oh, you know, yeah, it's not very. And what you see very often, you know, I understand this, and what is, you know, before you get above moving averages and you start trending higher, but while it's all counter trend, and every time you rally you hit, you know, resistance, get knocked back, it can look like that. But if this is going to be a leading diagonal and really a wave 1, and ETH Bitcoin is really going to outperform for any length of time rather than just get up to this 236 and collapse again, then after wave 2 we really need to see a proper 5-wave impulsive move. You can only get away with this in wave 1. Okay, so I'll go back. So I'm going to go back to this is Ripple dollar then. We haven't got a new high yet. We could arguably say this is potentially a continuation head and shoulders pattern. But the best way to look at this is the same way as Bitcoin. We'll measure this first swing from this low to this high, and we'll put it on from here and project. And so our first target will become this 61.8 level, 0.2466. That would be the first bearish target. The second bearish target, the equal measured move, would be 0.2946, and so on. So Ripple dollar making good strides, and a very nice back check of this 200 moving average. So lower time frame. It's not compelling, but any market, you know, trading above a 200 moving average is always going to get some attention and some money, hopefully. So here on the hourly, we've made a very nice ABC correction. I think we're all lined up on this hourly actually to continue higher right now. So I'd like to see a breakout and up we go. So 0.2466 Ripple dollar is what I'm looking for. That's the Bitfinex price. The Tether price might vary a little. If we look at Ripple Bitcoin, which is important because you kind of really need Ripple to be outperforming Bitcoin if you're going to buy it. It's not looking so hot, is it? Now, let's measure from the low, high. This is our first swing. Look where we stopped at that 61.8 level. So that tells me that this whole rally, and you know, there's a, when head and shoulders patterns fail, because this did look like a perfect head and shoulders pattern. When head and shoulders pattern fail, they are almost always that ABC corrective pattern. Okay, so this was a lovely head and shoulders pattern. It got triggered and absolutely murdered yesterday. And so here we are headed back to the lows. And the reason that happened is this is an ABC. So if we measure from this low to high, project it from here, we stopped at the 61.8 level. And so if we ABC, you know, even if we'd gone up here and then reversed and not hit the head and shoulders target, same thing. So you mark those levels. Whenever you see a head and shoulders pattern, mark those levels and be very careful. So in trading view, you know, if you put this tool on, so I use the trend-based fib extension like this. I'm just gonna put it on. Oh no, I'm having a nightmare. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay. When you first, let's put a clean page on. When you first put it on, I'm going to put it restore defaults. It's going to look like this, and you're going to go, oh, what the hell is that she talking about? Okay, this is how I just tidy up so that I use it. I use one color, and I choose a color I like. I take away the background because I don't want all those background colors, and I basically kind of change the lines to, you know, how I like them and so on. Or I like horizontal, I like proper lines, solid lines, and not so thick. But so, and I also, because I'm using it for measuring the swings, I'm only looking for the 61.8 or the equal swing. So that's all. I take everything else off. I use the 1.272, 1.618, and so on. And so you put that on one swing, put that on the pullback, and that's how I use it to measure. Oh, and I extend the lines. There we go. Extend lines, right, there we go. That's how I use that tool. Okay, we will do EOS at the end. In fact, we haven't got that many tonight. We'll do requests at the end. So against Bitcoin, Ripple is probably not going to outperform for a bit. It will retest the lows, make a new low potentially, and then we can see if we can make a base after that. If we look back where we are on this chart, and I looked at this before in Ripple Bitcoin, and I put my fibs on from this low to this high, and we tried to rally off this 886 fib extension. You know, when you draw your fibs on, first off, this was a 786. It was very messy, but now from 61.8, the 786 is the square root of 61.8. The 886 is the square root of the 786. So there is another fib level that people don't use very much, which is the square root of the 886, which is the 0.942, which is where I've marked here. And I think as long as we stay under 2620 in Ripple Bitcoin, we've got another leg lower to come to take us to 1334, unfortunately. So whilst I think Ripple will go up against US dollar, I don't think it's going to go up as well as Bitcoin for now, until it makes a base. Okay. Haven. Haven. I'm a big fan of what this coin can do. Okay, let's say that from the get-go. And this had the most spectacular rally. I think that we had 5 waves up, 3 waves back, and this was our wave 3, which we are correcting now. The problem is that this correction, when I first looked at it, I went, in fact, it's better to look at it on the 4-hour. When I first looked at this, I thought potentially this is an irregular flat, so this might be the correction over here. And when you see that, you watch how it rallies. And how we rallied was an ABC. So that wasn't what was going on. So now we knew with this ABC that we had at least another leg higher, lower. So then we say, okay, this is the high, and we'll start counting from here. Maybe this is ABC. So far, so good. But then this didn't turn anything into any impulsive. We couldn't get above these highs. And so now I'm thinking maybe this is just the first leg A. And this was an array A. So we've got this for ABC was our first leg A and a B leg. And now we're doing the C leg. Something like that. If that's the case, then we measure where we are. There's 2 places where we'll find support. We'll either find support here at this retest of this 50% level, and if I measure swings, this is going to get funky here. Okay. Oh, and I've got this horrible thick line, so don't worry. I'm just gonna. Okay. Let's, for example, let's hide that. Hide this. Okay. Now, first off, I thought, well, this is the first leg, and this I'll measure from here. And wait, there's the high. Didn't quite get to it. ABC's a little bit lower. And then I thought, well, what if actually this is A and this is a funky B and this is a C leg? And I'm starting to think that that's what this is. So I'm going to measure this from here to here and project it from here and say, I think, there's a possibility that we could come down to 13,895. If I'm wrong, now, and this was A and this in fact was B, then it goes a little bit lower to 11,981 in this swing low. I don't think that that's true because I can't count. The problem is for the B leg you have to be able to kind of count, and I'm struggling a little bit. So I think that there's a chance that we make a marginal new low here, and most probably 14,000, and then I'm looking for this to bounce, hopefully. But it may be that we just hold this low. Either way, we're in a correction and we're not going to be going up again. Even if we get the bounce, I want to see this back above that daily 50 moving average, because if we don't, that daily 50 moving average, certainly the first time we come back to it, is going to be resistance, and it might be one of those cases where you then look for it to retest the lows. So it has to really convince me this double bottom isn't enough. I need to see this and a higher low, and that we're going up again. So rest assured, I'm still thinking that all of this is a nice and corrective sideways. It's just how much further is it going to come back, because really we don't want to get rejected by this 50. We could then come all the way back to the 200 moving average, and we don't really want to do that. So one of the things it's good to look at is how long wave 2 took, in which case this should soon be over. I would really like to see this rally off the lows and back above that daily 50 would tell me we're going up again. So Haven's still correcting for now. I'm looking for some more evidence. Next one we're looking at is COS. Sorry, I'm just gonna find the page. The problem with ever Bitcoin goes on a bit of a ripper is it's like a fire that sucks all the air out of the room, all of the money. Nobody wants to miss the Bitcoin rally, so it sucks all the money out of everything else, and everybody runs to Bitcoin and ETH. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, I'm going to take some of these extra lines off. I had an alert here because I wanted it to cross, and it delete it because we didn't cross, we didn't get above it. So big picture, I drew my fibs from this swing high, last 5 waves lower in Contentos. And when we rallied here in May, we rallied and failed at the 236 fib. So now I'm hoping anyway, that we make a head and shoulders pattern. When you do that, the best head and shoulders patterns are kind of equal. So it means that this left shoulder size in terms of time and depth is kind of equal to the right shoulder. So we're not quite, you know, without hope yet, but it is looking a little bit desperate, isn't it? Not only that, but we could come all the way back, you know, here and retest the lows in a big ABC. So I'm not going to say it's over and we have to wait for a retest of the lows, but it's not looking terribly good for Contentos. The bad news today was losing this 200 moving average. I would have been quite confident, you know, if we could held this and rally away from it and pull it up. But for now, yeah, it's making it really hard for these other coins. It just is. So especially, you know, if you've got a bag that's not really going anywhere, yeah. I mean, if you've got an altcoin that's going up, you're not going to sell it to buy Bitcoin. But if you've got one that's just, you know, flopping around like this one, unfortunately, you are going to sell it. Now, what was the clue? So we had this big pullback. What was the clue that we weren't going to go up? I'm going to tell you it was here, because this swing higher, this was an ABC. We really couldn't, if we look, this is regular candles. See how we could not close above that equal measured move. We had a look above it, but we couldn't close the day above 109. And then the bearish reversal, that was when you know that the party's over. We've got another leg. So now we measure our legs the other way. So we go from this high to this low, project it from here. So if we can hold and get back above this 61.8 level, which is at 80, all fine. Otherwise, you know, we could be going back to the lows in 56, and if not, a full retest of 53, unfortunately. So Contentos against Bitcoin, not so happy. Does it mean that you're losing a load of money? Let's see what it looks like against Tether. Doesn't look too bad against Tether. Here we are back testing this 200 moving average. In fact, it still looks like we could make a really nice inverted head and shoulders pattern bottom here. We've had a bit of a hard day today. Again, just everybody's selling these altcoins that aren't going up because they're buying other stuff. So when they stop going up, the money will come back out and the love will spread out again. So that's where we are. Let's quickly measure this. I think, what if that was ABC like that? Yeah. This is anyway where support is. 61.8 of this first swing lower, 200 moving average. This is a great place against the US dollar for Contentos to rally from. So if you're still holding a bag, put your stop just under this low and this 200 moving average. See if it can rally from here. I think it could. Okay, so ZRX. Now this is one. So what normally happens in a rally is Bitcoin will go first and the big alts that track Bitcoin will go with it. So usually that's just ETH and Litecoin, isn't it? And then, you know, as they start to stall, the money will spread out into slightly still the blue chip, but it'll spread out into the big alts and so on. Let's take a look at ZRX Bitcoin, because this has been outperforming Bitcoin. The problem is, as Min pointed out, you know, this doesn't look really impulsive yet, does it? It looks choppy and overlapping. And if this is an equal measured move in ZRX as well against Bitcoin, which it's looking like, oh yes, it is, and a double top, then nah, this is bearish. Okay, the most common retrace of an ABC pattern like this, first swing, is 786. So ZRX Bitcoin, if I put my fib on from this low to this high, that 786 fib is usually back at these lows. They kind of line up together. So here, that's where we're headed back to. 2309. So I know that it looks like it might find support here at this 200 moving average, but I think that the fact is that ZRX for me, I don't think it's ready to outperform Bitcoin now. It might deceive us this first swing. You know what would be bullish if it was just an ABC pullback like this, but yeah, I'm still thinking lower and I'm not ready to buy it. So maybe at 2991, 2,991, but I think more realistically it keeps going lower. Sorry, not ready for that now. Does that mean that ZRX dollar won't go up or make money? No, it doesn't. In fact, this one, you know, has had a very nice breakout. But, okay, is this correction over? That's the key question. Against the dollar, because we've had a super nice rally, big drop lower, ABC rally here. So we know that this is a correction. So now we're looking for another leg lower. If this is our first leg, high to low measure, we're going to retest the lows. First place that we can look for ZRX US dollar to find support is on a retest of the June lows around 0.3189. So a little bit further to fall for ZRX. Okay, now let's look at Link. I hope I'm not going to. So I've got Link at dollar chart up first because we have been looking at this in my group. I feel like this was a big irregular correction, you know, first wave, huge ABC, and so now we've started this massive swing. Whenever I'm looking at a correction, the first place that I'm looking for a pullback to is the 236 fib. So when I put my fib on from this low to this high, that's where we found support and bounced 7.12. I've got regular candles on. It looks like we had a little expedition underneath this level. We're going to close back above it again. So I'm going to say as long as we close and hold above 7.1267, we look good to keep going higher. But if we close underneath that level, then we should look for another step lower to 6.02 in these previous lows. So yeah, Link has lots of possibilities, but this key level, and you can see lows here, important, really important. Another way I look for evidence that a coin's going up maybe is to look for the 236 going the other way. You know, we saw it going down. Where's our 0.236 fib level going up? You can see that we're above it, so we are looking pretty good. And we need to hold above it now. So lots to say that this shallow pullback, and now we're going to look for Link to continue higher, Link Tether. So again, shallow pullback, this is where the support is, and then hopefully carry on higher. So let's take a look at Link Bitcoin quickly. Ta-da now. Really hurt by such a lovely long uptrend, getting mullered now by. So look, one of the things it's useful to do. Sorry, I need to get rid of that. Okay, so one of the things I like to do is I put my fib retrace on like this, 236 fib. You have all your retrace levels. Then you go beyond, because when you go beyond the 1272, which was here, then the 1.618 are very good for new high targets. And then, so we got to the 1.618, and then we made a nice big correction here. So we were not looking at this one. And now we look at this one. Well, this one, I feel like this was an ABC with a 61.8 in the middle. So that was the correction here. And then we broke above here. We were for sure going up, so we went A, B, C. So when I put fibs on, I put them from A to C, and if we do that, then we stopped around the 2.618. It probably would look better if I did it like that. It's just I can't find a way to count that as a correction. Anyway, the 2.618 has reversed us here. Now we're waiting for this correction to play out, and then if we're going to keep trending higher, we'll start again. So far, we're at a really good place. We're at the daily 50 moving average. We are, if we measure the swings, are we around kind of one of those equal measured move levels. Let me draw it. Let's look at it on a 4 hour, make sure I'm doing it right. I'm not doing it right. This one looks funky too. Oh, but it is a perfect equal measure move. And this B leg is APPC, so we'll count it. And so this is a great place for Link to look for a reversal. So we now have 71033. That's Binance prices. So, okay, that's going to be our trigger. So yeah, I do like Link here. Link dollar, Link Bitcoin. I do think we've made a nice correction and it's a really good place for it to rally from. Now, if this is just the first leg in a bigger correction, then we are going to probably have trouble somewhere in the middle, somewhere around this pivot level, somewhere around these highs. And if we make a lower high, then, you know, we'll be looking for a bigger correction. But for now, I think that this is a great place on this 4 hour for us to rally from. On the hourly liquid, just, yeah, we're just turning up again. Okay, I'm going to look at XLM. This one hasn't been hi Michael Marks, good to see you. Litecoin, I will do Litecoin. The coins were in order they were chosen, but I'll stick Litecoin at the end. Litecoin has been so miserable the way it underperformed that, and you've got to say to yourself, like, what are they doing with Litecoin? What are the developers doing? Is anything going on? Because if they aren't doing anything, why would we be investing, you know? This is one that I really like for how we've behaved with the fib levels. And in Lumen, XLM, I put my fib on the weekly on this last swing lower here. So it's from the 13th of May 2019 high. I always look for the 236. You know, when you zoom out, I really hate. You either put your fib retrace on the whole lot, the whole thing, from the highest high that you can see to the lowest low, or you put it on the most recent swing. Like, if you're going to put it on a random high in the middle, you got to have a really good reason. Like, you know, I might consider this one because it's like a 5-wave sequence. But you have to have a really good reason, I think. Okay, so for me, initially, I've put my fib retrace on this last swing, and the 236 fib has worked as perfect resistance. And so that always validates it for me. And for me, it was, this 236 was perfect. Look how many times we tried it. On the weekly, we couldn't close above it. So it became really good support. And now it looks like really good resistance because, and it really is, even though we had a peak above it, look. So 891 is a perfect place. Really, we don't really want to close underneath there. And we've also got the daily 50 moving average. And in XLM, Bitcoin, if I go to the 4 hour, hopefully we've done one of those ABC corrections. Now, I feel like this is a bit of a funky one. So I'm just going to be open to this not lining up perfectly. Or by funky, I mean it like that. But anyway, here. Our ABC measured move lines up at the same level, 891, 892. So as long as we don't close below 891, 892, in fact, we make a nice bullish hammer here on the 4 hour. Yeah, let's look for XLM Bitcoin to turn up again. And how would we confirm that we are going up again, back above this swing high here, and 968. Above 968 would confirm XLM Bitcoin on the way up again. If you want, obviously, if we're outperforming Bitcoin, you don't really need to see it against Tether. But if you do, or you're looking at XLM against Tether, here, we made a very nice ABC correction here as well. After getting knocked back at, look, here's the most recent swing. There's the 1.618 that we stopped at. So that's where we are at. ABC correction. Really strong bounce off the lows, and this also is a really strong bounce off a really good support and resistance level. So as long as we hold above here, looking pretty good, doesn't it? So let's look at if we've got a reversal going on. Let's see an hourly. okay, whenever I see an ABC, or I think it's an ABC, I put my fib retrace on both swings. So that's from this high to low, and we're above the 236 fib, rock and roll in this one. So let's see. Looks really good though, Lumen Tether and Lumen Bitcoin, for a rally from here. So the love is starting to spread out into some of these bigger alts, isn't it? ETC, this is such a funky one. Well, I just like it. I always, when I see a coin rallying, I always say to myself, well, what does it do? And when you look at Ethereum Classic, you're like, oh, why is it rallying? It's, you know, it's the Doge effect, isn't it? I think this is making a pretty good base here. The problem is we're stuck in a sideways range, aren't we? This base should be a little inverted head and shoulders pattern. So that dash line is our neckline. This is a left shoulder lick. It's not really, because we haven't got a second touch here. But we'll call it a sideways range anyway. This is a sideways range that we're in that we need to break out from. And until we do, until we close above 71.95, we're stuck. Really, there's nothing doing, and we've been in it for 2 weeks. So close back underneath these supports. 6515 would retest the lows and probably signal another swing lower in Ethereum Classic Bitcoin. So I'm not really feeling it to outperform Bitcoin unless we can break those highs. Yeah, and hold above and keep going. So I would say neutral, unless we can get above 7,200 for Ethereum Classic. In KNC, so I'm not saying no, I'm just saying not yet. And let's see KNC. So much promise. I've got KNC Tether. Let's look at KNC. Just more history here. Okay, we don't want those. Hikanashi. So a nice wave one, an ABC correction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. So that's very good. When you have 5 waves up, now you're looking for 3 waves back for a correction. Usually, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you are looking back to the previous wave 4, the bottom of wave 4. So this here, the support level here, around here, would be the ideal place for KNC. So that's our weekly view of KNC Bitcoin. This would be a really good place to find support then. Previous lows, double bottom around here. Now let's measure the swings, because if we've got an equal measured move here as well, then today we've also in KNC tagged an ideal place to go higher from. So now we just need to see that reversal. The problem is that if you identify it too early, and you can run out of patience with it, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time to make a base. You bounce off the low, and the first time you bounce off the low, all of these moving averages are the wrong way round. So you'll have a little bounce, you'll get up, maybe you probably maybe to this high, maybe to this high, and then because the moving averages are all, you'll come all the way back, maybe retest the lows. It takes time to make a little bit of a base, like here, look. It takes time. So have we tagged the ideal level for KNC to rally from? Yeah, we have. Now we need to be patient and see if it can make a base here and rally, because sometimes we can go down to this 1272 extension as well. If we look at if we do fib from this swing, like we think that's 2, don't we? No, I've done it wrong. Fib retrace. Ideally, you're looking for retrace between the 50 and the 61.8. Wait, that's not it. 50, 61.8. So kind of that's exact. Actually, that's where we are. So I think it's looking really good here. 13, around 13.094. So it's just a matter of getting an entry. These 61.8 fib levels can be messy, and maybe I should really be measuring it from the low, but we've still tagged it, so looking very good. Now when you tag what you think is a 61.8, then the 50% becomes the pivot level to stop you going higher. Remember, fibs are like a little staircase, so they work when you go back and back test them as well. So that obviously was today's open price, yesterday's close. So that's our level. First upside resistance when we rally, and if we get above there, happy days. Up we go again. So really good place for KNC. Just need a bit more evidence that we've stopped going down here first. I don't know why I've written Bitcoin again. I shouldn't have written Bitcoin again. So that's KNC Bitcoin. Perfect place to rally from. ARDR, let's see, ARDR. So there's a few of these bigger coins, they look all set, don't they? Forget the decentralized finance newbies. Some of these old guard might be getting ready. In fact, how did we were looking at MaidSafe this morning. How did it do? Not very much. No breakout yet. Okay. Yeah, look at OMG, CEL. Hello. What a day. I know. What a day. Oh dear. Look at TR. Oh dear. I was looking at this. Okay, this is a good lesson again. Okay, TRX. I looked at this and thought, you know, this has a look of a sloping shoulder, inverted head and shoulders pattern. But I'm not a fan of a sloping shoulder. I really rely on horizontal levels. So this one here was going to be the thing. And remember, when head and shoulders patterns fail, it's because it's not a head and shoulders pattern, it's an ABC correction. So I was looking for us to hold this 200 moving average and rally away here in TRX. Okay, so we'll measure the swings because when it fails as an APC correction. And it's not quite equal, is it? But that's what we've done here in TRX anyway. Big ABC, so damn. This, honestly, this is Bitcoin. It just sucks the life out of the altcoins because, you know, this has been sitting here all quiet, doing nothing. And people go, oh my God, I'm not waiting for this. I'm buying Bitcoin. Go. Let's see. I know nobody asked for Tron, but... And look, a green day against the dollar. So this Tron is going up. You won't lose money in it, but you won't make as much money as you will in Bitcoin. That's the lesson, isn't it? Of a lot of altcoins. So if you get really depressed and you're looking at your altcoin position in against Bitcoin, I recommend that you take a look at it against the US dollar and see how much money you might not necessarily have lost money. Okay, now ARDR. So again, okay, this is ARDR Tether, and then we'll look at ARDR Bitcoin. Okay, this rally here, so we have the big up and the down, and then you're wondering, is this correction complete? We're going to keep going up again. How is the rally unfolding? And this is again unfolded as an ABC correction here in ARDR. So this was our clue. Now it wasn't perfect, it's messy in fact, but we didn't get to that magic 1.618 level, unfortunately, and just had that look. Now if we, that's that swing, if we just take this swing here as well, again, this is, when you see those ABCs, it's all kind of corrective. Anyway, this one's rolled over, lower high, and we're seeing another swing lower. I don't know where this will end up. It's been a sharp rally at the moment. It looks like a false breakdown. But you know, this choppy overlapping against the dollar doesn't make me want to buy this one. And this is against the dollar. We haven't looked against Bitcoin. It's going to be worse, unfortunately. So if this was our first swing lower in the ARDR, this is a high. I think we've got further to go, even though it looks like we've bounced initially. And so I would say stay out. Wait for this rally to top out. If you're long and you're looking to get out of this, I would try and get out on a bounce if you wanted to. Otherwise, ride it out, you know, and you'll have to just wait for it to bottom, which is not finished with this correction, unfortunately. So against Tether, we're not looking pretty. Against Bitcoin, let's see the daily chart. Now, this low, I have a feeling this, yeah, here it is. This is quite an important low. You know, we've tested it twice. Here, we didn't quite break it this time. So I have a feeling, remember, third touches, not just of trend lines, but horizontal levels. Third touches are very often false breakdowns. So I would not be surprised to see ARDR Bitcoin break that low and then rally hard off it to hold it. So far, to be honest, it's been quite a spectacular bounce already, hasn't it? Makes you think, what's going on? Still in a downtrend for now, I would say. Yeah. Watch for this to turn lower. I think it's got a date retesting those lows in ARDR Bitcoin. So yeah, not for me yet. Spectacular bounce, but not for me yet. It has to do a bit more. What would it have to do? Well, if we look at this and put regular candles on here. So we'll just take this whole big swing. This is a 4-hour chart. See, it does say it's going up above this 236 fib. We should go to this 50%, 559. I think if we got above 559, I would say, yeah, properly recovered, but because that would also be that trend line as well. That's where your major resistance is at 559. So above 559, I might rethink my view, but for now, not quite. Yeah, not quite enough to make me want to buy it yet. Sorry about that. ARDR's not. I know it's very bouncy, but downtrend still. One ONE is next. I have a lot of charts open, I know. I literally flick through page looking at the chart, so don't know if it's just the fastest way I know how to do it. Okay, first off, we're going to look at one or Harmony against US dollar tether. I'm quite bullish of this one because mainly because of this 236 fib level, and in US dollar tether I've done it from the all-time highs here in June 2019 to the lows, and this 236 fib gave us a little bit of trouble for a couple of days. It was also previous support here and resistance here, so a really good level to break above today. So now when we look at pullbacks in Harmony, we're going to look for 817 to hold as support to buy and then continue higher, and then we're looking for 1249 and 1599. So in terms of tether, Harmony looks really good by pullbacks that hold above 817. So look, we've tested it perfectly once. So we should, let's see if this next leg can be like 61.8. That would be lovely. 849 might be where we come back to next in this high. We've already tested it perfectly once, so it should hold. Okay. Next dip. Now, the way I use Heikin-Ashi candles, okay, I think they're a really good smooth indicator of when you've bottomed. So here we've just gone red. Let it stay red. When it turns green again, it's time to buy it. It's really that simple. They're called, look, Heikin-Ashi. Okay. So I'm a little bit bullish Harmony, but I'm looking at this pullback, and I'm a little bit bullish Harmony Bitcoin. Again, I'm going to go to this 236 fib level, regular candles. Sorry, I'm just trying to clean up my chart here. Okay. I'd been really hoping that we would get back to these highs here in Harmony and retest this 236 fib level, and we haven't. And it's a bit disappointing that we've had such a sharp sell-off with this sucking the air out in Bitcoin, because if we look at kind of fib rules and fib patterns from this most recent swing, and I think that it's okay to do that, because if I put the fib retrace levels on from this high to this low, you can see perfect reaction at the 236 fib. So for me, that kind of validates it's 38.2, the 50%, 61 at 50%, 61.8 we paused at, and so on. And then here's this 786 fib. Normally you don't take a look the other side of a 786 fib. So this is a little bit concerning, because this looks like an 886 reversal. Did we reach that 942 level? Anyway, so remember, fibs like a staircase. So we're underneath this 786 fib. So this 61.8 here, 79 is where our support is. As long as we stay above 79, we're going to keep going higher. Michael Marks, I will check work. Thank you. That's very nice of you. If we stay above 79, we keep going higher. If we don't, then 69. When you reverse at an 886 fib, you come back to the 50% usually, and that would be this pivot level here. And pretty good structure here as well. So staying above 79, keep looking for higher. If we lose 79, we're going to come back to 69 before we make a base and go up again in Harmony Bitcoin. Next one we're going to look at, we're getting the ALGO APPC. I will do your work first of the ones on the end, don't worry. Algorand. So the main issue in Algorand, this is such a messy chart. Okay, this is the, okay, it's the dollar, isn't it? That's why. This is the dollar tether chart. So the dollar tether chart, we've had a really nice rally. I'm not quite sure that this is an ABC correction at the moment. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt and saying that we stay in an uptrend as long as we stay above all of these moving averages and this kind of support zone here in the middle, which is our 50% back previous low, if we hold that, and this 236 fib level. I think if we go back below this little support zone, then we've got a bigger correction going on. Another simple way to look at this would be, we'll take these fibs away and we'll put 236 fib on from the low. Okay. And 38.2 and then the 50%, because this, you lose one level, you go to the next level and so on. Okay. So we've lost the 236 fib. We're sitting on the 38.2 here. If we lose this, we're going to go to 24.74. And there's loads of support there. The daily 200 moving average, look at this quadruple top and so on. So I'm not convinced we've bottomed. There is a possibility that we just bounce and we see another leg lower in ALGO US dollar tether. So if we look at this, you can see so far this is just a bounce and an uptrend. So Algorand potentially. So not enough to make me buy it yet. Now if we didn't use fibs or anything else, what would reverse this hourly downtrend? Well, above this high. If we say a downtrend is lower lows and lower highs, then above 3026, that would be an hourly reversal. If we did use fibs, we could say above 2955 and this hourly 20 moving average, that would be a good reversal. But we would still need to make a new high to reverse this downtrend. So that's, I'm going to say, where our key bull bear line is 0.3032 algo tether. Above there we are going higher. If we take a look at Algorand Bitcoin, this daily chart, look at what, okay, this is a bigger correction. Let's, yeah, now. Yikes, it's not looking very good that we've lost these daily moving averages. And I know we've got a few hours to go and we are bouncing off the lows, but we haven't really bottomed yet on this, on these momentum indicators. I've got an RSI and a CCI here, have we? So let's try fibs this way. This is quite a fun level. Like if you were going to look at a level, this is a pretty good one, isn't it? Oh God. That's my puppy being sick. Well done, James. Bit further, bit further. Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, I like this horizontal level. I think if we can recover this daily 200 moving average and this 50 moving average, then we've got a pretty good chance. So in terms of fibs, that would be okay for some rules as well. This 236 fib here, horizontal. Yeah, there's lots to like about this. In fact, if we close a little bit higher back above these moving averages, I would be a little bit more encouraged, Algo Bitcoin. For now, this is just a small little bounce and not quite the bottom that we want to, not quite enough evidence of a bottom. So, you know, we need to see a few things. We need to, for either get above this previous high, or we need to make a double bottom or a head and shoulders pattern, you know, something like that to say that we've made a base here. But this is a really good level for Algorand to do that and to rally from. In fact, a really good level to do that from. So we just need a little bit, after a really rough day with Bitcoin, we just need a little bit more evidence that we can do that. Another good way is let this close, and then if you trade Japanese candlesticks, if you let this big down candle close, and then you wait and you mark 50% of the open close, don't count the tail, just the open close. If we can the next day close more than 50% up of this down candle, that would be a bullish. I can't believe you let me horse poo. Okay. Anyway, more than 50% up on the close on the next day, that would be a bullish reversal for Algorand. So I think we can afford to be a little bit patient here and see if we hold this moving average before we pile in. But yeah, Algorand, after a really ugly look, is in a really good place to potentially find some support from. I can high tonic, I can do SXP at the end. Yeah, the Daleks will make a note of it, and they decide what we're doing next. So I've got to finish these coins that are all requested next. I don't know if I've got a chart for AP. It's been a while since I looked at APPC. I don't. Let's go to the end and make one. See what's going on with APPC. I've got SXP here up already, you can see, so we will do it at the end. Okay, these charts all look like they've had drive-by shootings with this move in Bitcoin, don't they? The warning, unfortunately, I have to say on the weekly, in this APPC was this double top here. If we put our fibs on, high to low, very often the sign of a correction is stopping at the 50% level. And here, this was the 50% level, and then we double topped. So that was the warning that this, you know, might not be all that it looks like in terms of bullishness. And 61.8, let's do that on the daily. Make sure I've drawn it right. So yeah, this is one of those ABC corrections where the first leg measured, projected from the low here, the second swing was 61.8 of the first leg. So now we're going to reverse at least 78.6 of the whole rally. So that means from here to here, and if not, a retest of the lows or new lows. So we need to be a little bit patient now. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, if we find support here around these lows, we hold this daily 200 moving average, that would be a good sign that maybe we've put in a bottom. If we look at this on a 4 hour here, have we maybe done an ABC correction going this way? We maybe have if we hold support here as well. So that would be a good look. So if we don't go any lower and we turn up from here, then back above 423 would be a good sign. Back above this 50% level, 489 would be a really good sign, and back above all of those moving averages. So maybe, so many of these altcoins are in the same position. They're in a low where maybe this would be a good place to do it from, but there's just no price action to tell you it's happening yet. Is there? Even like, has the 15-minute moving averages flipped yet? No. Have the 5-minute moving averages flipped? Ooh, just. So this is what I mean by a bullish cross. So the 20 and the 50 have crossed, you've come back, get above them, pull back, find support, turn up higher from here. So yeah, a good start. I can maybe look at gold, spot gold at the end, Saksham. That's been so hard to trade if you're trying to get into it, hasn't it? Okay, BSV Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin caches, so BSV, BCH, they've really been trying to trade with up until today or yesterday. They've been pretty much in step with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin rallied, they did the same. In fact, they looked like they were all set to outperform, didn't they? When I looked at this, this is Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin. Remember, when a reversal fails, it's usually because it's ABC. So if this here, high to low, it doesn't look like the perfect ABC, but that's what it was. So we're going to come back to these lows and see what happens here in BCH. Now in BSV, have we got the same thing? Because I have to say that BSV has been outperforming BCH a little bit, and I don't think this one against Bitcoin looks too shabby. Actually, I know that's a bit, but first off, we had a bullish cross of our daily moving averages. That's pretty good. We've pulled back, we overshot a little bit, but for me, you know, this is quite, yeah, not, where did that come back to? This was a very trendy 50% pullback, wasn't it? So far, so good. You know, the problem with the 50% pullbacks is sometimes they get you stuck going the other way. And yeah, initially it did pull back, and now we're going higher. Do you know, I want to say that this has a really good, I feel like this has a good shot to follow Litecoin and turn higher from here. And especially, we've now been 4 days holding this daily 50 moving average. So as long as we keep doing that, this is another one where I think, especially as we haven't completely crapped out, this is another one where we have a really good chance to go higher. It's just we're not doing it yet, unfortunately. So if you're long, make sure that we don't lose this double bottom level here. And let's see if we can make a little bit of a base and turn up again. I'm going to say this is another one where we're in a really good place to rally from. We just need a bit more evidence we're going to do it. So if you're in, hold on. If you're looking at it, yeah, gosh, it's ugly. Sorry, I hate to say that, but yeah, good luck. Now, where are we going to go if we go higher on the daily here? Well, whenever you get a bullish cross like this and you hold these moving averages, you're looking for the 200-day moving average next. So that's where we're looking for next. But if we look at our fib levels in this one, let's draw them from the all-time low here, 10th of May, to this high. Here we are faffing around this 61.8 level. And so, you know, Bitcoin Cash SV, if I look at this now, we can look at this a little bit differently and say, you know, maybe back again above this 0.618 level, 0.01980, that would be quite bullish, because that would mean also, if we can get back above it, that our target is the 50 at 0.025889, and we go beyond the 200 moving average. But first target, I would have the 200 moving average and then beyond, if we can break higher. If, big if. And if we don't lose that daily 50 moving average. She's just a little bit spiky, BSV. COTI, we added this one on in the group at the end. Let me find COTI. One of the hot ones. COTI. Rune, I was looking at Rune this morning. I thought Rune had a good... Okay. So, again, when you have a coin and you make new highs, so when you have an ABC, you put your fib on for both swings, so high to low. And then when you make new highs, remember you're looking for the 1272 or the 1.618. Here, we stalled at this 1.272 for now. If we can find support here at our 20 moving average, we should look for it to continue higher to the 1.618 level at 61.9. If we look, ever since we got our moving average cross, every time we've pulled back to this daily 20 moving average, we found support. So pull back, support, pull back, support, pull back, support. Here we are. We've bounced off the lows and we're going to close back above this 20 moving average again. So potentially this could be support here for COTI and we rally back. But this is one very ugly candle. And if we probably close here, then 50% of this candle and these previous highs, that's going to be where our trouble comes in at 455. Is it 455? Let's make sure I've drawn it right. Wait. Okay. Yeah, 455. So any rally we have, that's where the resistance is going to be. So it's fine to buy it if you get nice low time price action that you like. We could get maybe a little 15-minute head and shoulders pattern or something. But 455 is going to be the level that we have to beat if we are going to continue higher and this isn't just a bounce and a downtrend. And that's also 4-hour moving averages are there, you know, a lot of resistance. So I think it's, again, another coin with a level where we could rally. Look, just trend down, higher lows, lower highs. If we take out 423, I would watch it, see if we can get above 455, and above 455 we are going up. So yeah, again, a big nasty sell-off day. It's going to take a bit of work to turn this around and make a base, but we are at a really good level for COTI to rally from. So I'm going to take a look at this one again in the morning and see. So let's see how we go. If we can't take out this high, obviously we're still in a downtrend. Okay, so now we're going to look at some requests and we'll make that work first of all. Yeah, here we go. Work. Okay. What's on here? Look at this lovely chart. This is total market cap. This means that new money, as the market rallies, new money is coming into crypto. This is really positive. It means that alts and ETH and Bitcoin can rally together, and eventually, hopefully, alts can rally with Bitcoin as well. And you need new money to do that. Okay, so we're going to do the first one. We're going to do here is work. Workforce Bitcoin. Oh, chart's not loading. That's not very good. Okay, let's try again. Coin paprika. We'll look at it against Bitcoin and then we'll look at it against the dollar. Okay, so we need to come down to the lows. I really don't. I really am not a fan of these low digit numbers. You know, I'm not going to complain though, am I? So clearly we're stuck in a little bit of a sideways range in this one. And it's doing that 100, 200 thing. So you can buy it when it drops down to 100 and people are taking profit when it gets to 200. Why wouldn't you? You've doubled your money. The problem is that we really need to go beyond that if we're going to get anywhere. Like more than 50% of this down candle, something like that. I'm going to look at it against the US dollar because I'm not very good with these low number caps. I like better candles patterns. Okay. So we've got a very good base here. So we're looking for the sign. So we've got a very good base. Look at these. This is dollar. You know, this was the closing price. Yeah, we had a little trip below. So this is a new low. But if we look at the closing price, that's also where we've, if you like, double bottomed here. So whenever you get a double bottom, the target, believe it or not, is the spike in the middle. So that's really, we've been up there once. It looks like we're going up again. And I really, honestly, I know that sounds crazy, but that's where I think we're headed to. That is also, and then from there, oh yeah, in fact we'll do it from there, 50%. So yeah, it looks good. Whenever you've got a double bottom or you see a double top like here, it means the market has stopped going down. It's not a new uptrend yet. We have to do a lot more work, especially in this one, to get out of jail, if you like. We need to take out these previous highs from the downtrend. That would be the first sign that we've stopped going down. So if we get above, yeah, 1.7 million, then we would be looking up here to 2.47 and these highs.
That's interesting, but that guy Michael's looking for a stock ticker called work.
Oh, you're looking for that one. Oh, I know that work. Gosh, okay. Work. Yeah, no problem. That's hilarious. Sorry. Work. Slack. I use Slack all the time too. Okay. Monthly. Let's start with a monthly chart. Because we've done one of those, unfortunately, 886 reversals. Okay. When you reverse at an 886 fib, which we did here, target is back to the 50%, and I don't think we've quite tagged it yet. We're almost there, but not quite. So let's see where we are on the weekly. God, what a great level it is too. Okay, so potentially a little bit lower. So we've had one swing down, A, B, C, and then our level where we're looking to buy is going to be a little bit lower at 28.55. Let's measure the swings in this one as well. Ooh, 61.8, yeah. So this says actually around here, this is our kind of ideal buy zone, isn't it then? As we come into month end. And below 28.55, if we did an ABC, would we get to the 200 moving average? Yeah, 200 moving average. So we've got two support zones here, and then 25.78, which is the equal measured move in the 200 moving average. I don't know which one's going to hold. My fib rules probably maybe let's not have them. Let's see the fibs going the other way. Do a messy chart. It's annoying. Annoying. Right. So two support levels. How do we know which one of these we're going to bounce from? Well, I guess we have to watch and see. I honestly would do really simple. Let's do really simple things, okay? So really simple trend is higher highs, lower lows and lower highs, and higher highs and higher lows. So if we take out the previous high here, then we are no longer in a downtrend. We're in a, at least for a short term anyway, uptrend. And you can see that that's the level that we retested. And now we're still going down. In fact, we're getting stuck. This candle, 50%. It looks to me like we've still got further to go. So I'm going to say 28.50 and maybe 26. So I'm not ready to buy it yet. But if it went above 30 and held above 30, that would be a bullish trigger for me, because we've reversed that short-term trend. The other way to put the bullish trigger on, I would sometimes do this. Okay, work. There we go. So above 30 would be a bullish trigger, and above 30.57, a close above 30.57 would confirm it. So otherwise, I'm afraid I think we've got a little bit further to go here or here in work before we can look to it for it to turn up again. Okay. Next one we're going to look at is ETH priced in pounds. Where are the levels for ETH priced in pounds? ETH priced in pounds. Ta-da! Okay. We've got pretty good history here with Coinbase, so let's stick with that. I'm going to measure, like, we're going to forth all of them from this low to this high. I'm going to look at where we are with here, this, and I'm going to say, you know, look, this 61.8, as long as we stay above it, which is at 212, a long way away, then I'm looking for new highs in 296.86 in ETH pound. Now that would be where we go if we make a marginal new high, and this is an ABC. So we make a marginal new high, everybody gets really excited, and then collapse. If we go beyond 296, we're going to put our fibs retrace from this low to this high, and we're going to look for our extensions. And the 1272 is to 344, and then 417. Sometimes we go to the 2.618. It's true. And that would be up here at 629. So looking really good, isn't it? Now, where would we would fail then if we make a marginal new high at 300 and then reverse sharply. That's the only danger that we've got to watch out from here. So we're still at 251. So I would look for pullbacks to continue higher. If this is a weekly chart, if we get a bit of a setback in Ethereum for some reason at month end, then 50% back of this really big green candle which would also mean retesting these previous highs. That would be a really good place to buy on a pullback for that next swing higher as well. We really shouldn't go below there, and on the daily, in fact, yeah, that's we just keep stretching. Looks great, doesn't it? So 262 next, 286, and then our hopefully not reversal at 300 in FGBP. Next one we're going to look at, the outcome would be the same as ETH dollar, yeah. EOS US dollar. Hello, Noi. I've got EOS Bitcoin here, which doesn't look like such a happy chart, does it? Because EOS is outperforming Bitcoin. And again, I'm just looking at the trend, you know, each time we rally, I'm pretty much low on the highs. So if we take out that previous high, we're going up again, you know, and we'll do this, I do this each time. So still in a downtrend, although we are a little bit sideways now in EOS Bitcoin. And potentially, if we don't make a new low, we could be making a base here against Bitcoin. But EOS US dollar, let's look at that one. Now, a bit of chart cleanup. So far, this rally off the low, although it looks like 5 waves, it's been really slow and laboured. I do like it when I count it though, because it looks like it could be, and this for sure is a 3-wave back, isn't it? It's a correction. And this is one where we've done that, where the second swing is 61.8 of the first swing. So perfect correction. Now, if this is going to turn into a bullish reversal, we should see some really strong up moves here that take us above the 200 moving average and higher. At the very least, we're going to look for 61.8 of this swing going the other way. So at a minimum, we're looking for 3.215. And we would still be bearish if we stopped at 3.854, but ideally 4.889. Now, I'm not going to underestimate the problem with this 200 moving average. We might have a little bit of a wobble here, but if we don't, and if we stay really strong, then yeah, this EOS looks really good, and it does look like it's going up again. Now, there would only be one, if we're doing it wrong, one little problem if this is. So we would say, what if this is the first leg and then this correction isn't over? In other words, this is A, and now we're doing B, because B legs can be the worst, most complicated horror. So what we could be doing here is A, and then we go B, and then we do C. That would be a nightmare. So where would we stop if that was the case? Where would the trouble come? 2.903. Let's make sure we push above 2.903 and this 200 moving average, and then that takes that away. So really do need to get above it, but looking very good, I think, for EOS US dollar. Not maybe to outperform Bitcoin, but to have a pretty good run. And yeah, this correction looks perfect. So if we see strong upside movement, excuse me, that's what we want to see. Okay, and then we're going to do ADA Tether. Can I just say all charts look pretty against Tether, almost all charts now. ADA Tether, I've got my Binance chart, high to low, 236 fib, we blasted through. I don't know if we're going to stop at this 38.2 or we keep going, but this is a solid uptrend on this weekly. So, you know, we have a few up moves, we go sideways for a couple, we don't pull back. You see each one of these big thrust candles, as long as you don't come back more than 50%, you're still in an uptrend. Here we didn't even test it, here, kept going, didn't test it here. In fact, I think we might have done with this one, came back a little bit, but not that far. So as long as we don't close the week Okay, the weekly close is what's important. So as long as we stay strong this week and we don't close the week more than 50% down, I think we still go higher. If we did, and so, here's how I measure it. Zoom all the way in, low, high, 50%, 0.13625. So as long as we don't close the week below 0.13625, we're still going up. So far, so good. In fact, that was the low today. Let's look at it on the hourly. We had a dip underneath it, but ADA tether looks great to rally from here. Here's the problem. Look at these hourly moving averages, and they're the wrong way round. Whenever I see that, and there's a bit of level here, it's always a bit of a warning that we'll have a deep pullback before we go up again, unless we can make a new high. So I would say if you're long here, watch out that we don't see a deep pullback before we go up again from here. But ADA tether, it's got the look, still in an uptrend by pullbacks, and I love it. Litecoin. So Litecoin's had a big day. Bloody hell, Litecoin has had a big day. Do you know, they're utter bastard. Look at what they've done. So, you know, Litecoin had a really nice breakout, and so they've run the stops. You know, we have a really nice bullish day breakout, and here's our lovely pullback on the daily, Litecoin, Bitcoin, that didn't close more than 50% down of this green candle. So you would say, oh, perfect, I'll buy this here, put my stop under this low, wait to collect money. And they've run the stops under all of this swing in Litecoin, and then just rip people's faces off. Horrible. This is honestly horrible for people to trade. It really is horrible to trade. The only way you can get away with that is like having no stop, you know, which is not even clever. And it's a good lesson. Sometimes you get stopped out, and if you like something, you've just got to get back on the horse. So if that happened to you in Litecoin, and then we bounce like this, you just have to say, you know, it was a false breakdown, and get back in. It's hard to do. Now, where are we going to go? Litecoin, because Litecoin is, for a little bit, again, outperforming Bitcoin. I always thought that this had a look of a bear flag. In Litecoin, you know, this choppy overlapping channel that we were in, if it breaks higher to the upside, then, you know, in fact, it's like, yeah, a little bit higher, isn't it? There's our little bear flag like this, if you like. So let's go to the weekly, because we had these fib levels. This is Litecoin, Bitcoin, from this low to this high. These fib levels were really well respected, and this 786 fib level was really important. So we're not really going to be recovering anything in Litecoin unless we can get above it. And these, look, there's this double bottom here as well. There's this spike and this low. So that's our first level that we need to get above. It's a little bit higher, isn't it? Whatever that low is. 5253. So that's our first hurdle, 5253. And then 5403, which is the fib level, is going to be the second one. And if we can get above those, and so that becomes our resistance zone, then I might say, okay, we could have a bit of a reversal here. But otherwise, you know, this is really strong resistance. And I don't think, you know, there's so much going on. I think in Litecoin you can wait for it to prove itself, if you like. Boy, that was nasty. Okay. Yeah, it looks very good. I would like it much more above 5,200, and I would love it above 5,440 Litecoin, Bitcoin. Now, if Litecoin, Bitcoin looks good, we know that Litecoin dollar or Litecoin tether is going to look amazing. Ta-da, amazing. So this is what I mean, you know, it's just because it's not outperforming Bitcoin doesn't mean you're losing money. And you're not going to lose money in this one, are you? So we're above the weekly 50 moving average. That's very bullish. We are above the daily 200 moving average today. That is very bullish, especially after we stopped there yesterday. And we are above the big 2.36 fib retrace, which is very bullish. I'm going to say, and I've put this fib on from the June 20, just this most recent swing. This fib may not be what the market is looking at. And the only way we will know is if it validates it by back testing it and doing like a really shallow back test. So if we get above it and then it becomes support, I've drawn this correctly. If it doesn't, and it ignores it, so it does this and then carries on higher, I'm going to take this fib off and draw it differently, because I use that 236 fib as like a touchstone. If I were to draw it differently, I would probably, looking at this, just use this most recent swing here. Then we look at it and say, how did we react at the other levels? Gosh, if when we look at the other levels here, this might be it, mightn't it? So 236 fib was support, resistance. 38.2 was messy, not the first time, then support. And so 54.75 now becomes a really important level, because that's what we've got to get above. That's the 50%. So now we can go level by level. So we'll expect a shallow pause. We won't expect it to go back below the 200 moving average. We would say 50% of our big green candle should be where the support is, ideally, and then we can pull back, break above 54.75, and then look for the 61.8 next at 61.77. So that's how I use that 236 fib to just say, have I drawn it right? Maybe not in this case. So there we go. 54.75 becomes the resistance level to beat, and then 61.77 next. Okay, and then Benjamin, I hope that was helpful. Celer network, CEL. Let's take a look at CEL. And then OMG, and then SXP. So this is one of those hot coins, popular thing of the moment, quite rightly, but I had a lot of trouble deciding which fibs were appropriate and working here. If I go to a weekly, sometimes you kind of want to see which was the most recent swing lower, and where would the 236 fib be. So we could use this swing here, this little short one. We could use the all-time highs, and I kind of used this because, I don't know, it just looked right. And if I, with this previous support and resistance, and I looked at this, okay, because this is a big ABC, which I think it was, then this was, from this lower high, was the last 5 wave lower. So that's why I've got it like that. Either way, this, if it's not the fib, this previous high, an 80, is a pretty important support and resistance level, and that's where we've stalled. So whether I've drawn the fibs right or not, 80 is still an important level. And if I have drawn the fibs wrong and we go out, because if we get above 80, I'm going to draw them all the way from these highs and say we want the 236 fib from the next one up here at 150.59 next. So 80 is a little bit of a pause level. I love this one. We've got a bullish cross of our weekly moving averages. There's loads to like about this. As, this pullback so far this week, you know, we draw these weekly candles, and ideally you want to see 50% back of the big long green candles, 50% back is what we've seen, and that's been the low here at 65. So everything is as it should be for us to consolidate and go higher. Today was a little bit of a pause day, a doji, but you know, we're going to close in the top half of this green candle. Have we quite broken out yet? No, not really. Unfortunately, we've had a good look above this sideways zone that we've been in, but we really need to close above 75 to say that we're going higher. I am bullish. This is bullish consolidation. All the moving averages point to higher. It's just a question of when are we ready to go again. God, that doesn't help us at all, does it? It looks pretty promising with these hourly moving averages. Yeah, let's just wait and see if we can turn up again higher here. A close above 75 or a sharp move above 75 would do it for me in Celer network. And then you know, I wouldn't ignore these lows as a wobble level on our way to that first fib. So 112 and then I think 159 would be my upside targets. Let's see. Don't let this come back too far and turn into a bigger inverted head and shoulders pattern. So by that I would put my fibs on from here and this 236 fib level at 70. I don't want to see a day, really don't want to see a daily close now underneath 70. Is it 70? Wait, 72. A daily close underneath 72 would be quite bearish. And a daily close above 75. We've got a really tight range. No wonder it's a tight little doji. Yeah. With this spike, a daily close below 72 would say that we've got more correction lower. So that's nice. You don't want to spend a lot of money finding your wrong, do you? Celer Bitcoin. Celer US dollar. I've waffled too long about that one. Let's take a look at Celer Tether. Okay, we'll go to the monthly chart. Clean this up. Okay, we're going to do the big fib from this high and say, where's that 236 fib? It's almost there, 0.0104. And then we're also going to do this most recent swing, see if there's any confluence. Yeah, 38.2. Okay. So this first fib level was initially resistance, so as long as we don't close below 683, we're looking for this cluster next here for our target. Okay, so we can buy pullbacks in Celer US dollar tether, and we're looking for 1,000, between 1,014 and 1,050 for our upside target next. If we can close above 1,014, that, remember, that's the big 236 fib from the highs, then we should see much higher, 1,584 and 2,000. So looking very good. I'm going to put that fib that I deleted off because that's where we're wrong below. We are bearish back below 683 because that's the 236 fib that we got above. We should stay above it. It's the 50% of this big thrust candle. We should stay above that. It's these little highs here. There's lots of support and resistance. So 683, we don't want to close back below. That would be the game over. And I've done it wrong. For Celer US dollar, OMG. Yikes. So we had a really bullish move, didn't we? up to the 38.2. This was such a strong move. And then this is a weekly chart, and now we've pulled back. Now, if I was just looking at candlesticks, I would say, God, 50% back of this big green candle, that would be a good place. And this weekly 20 moving average, that's not a bad place either if we're going to find support in OMG. I'm just looking at, am I doing the right one? Hold on. Celer and Matic do act very differently, don't they? Okay, so look, 50, this is the level, so 50% back, Maribosu line. So if we were going to say, where would we ideally like to buy OMG back again, it would be here at 1385, where the low is today. So now we've just tagged it. We need to see if we can make a base here. 15 minutes, let's see. So far so good. A little bit of sideways, but we can see this previous swing high, this 15-minute 50, so that would be the hourly 20. 1474 would be a bullish reversal for me, so that's what I would be looking for, above 1474. So as we're going up, at least for the short term anyway, and a really good place for a correction to be over in OMG. Look, and these previous highs as well, like loads to like here. Okay, let's see. A lot of coins have pulled back to a really good place, haven't they? Okay, I need to look and see, is it XXP next or requests? Okay, OMG, SXP. Okay, we'll start with SXP against Bitcoin. I'm going to put our regular chart up and let's... Clearly, we've got 5 waves up, haven't we? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need 3 waves back, and ideally to finish somewhere between the 50 and the 61.8. And that's kind of where we are, in the middle here, between the 50 and the 61.8. We've also got this daily, newly minted daily 20 moving average here. So I like this level, and I like this 61.8 level, and this is a really good place to bounce from. The problem is that between the 61.8 and the 38.2 is called that golden ratio zone. Sometimes it extends up to the 236 fib. So if we were going to have a bullish reversal here, we need to close above 14,769, which is that 50% pivot level. So now when we look at it on a 4 hour, okay, here's our 61.8 level bounce. We need to, our resistance is at 14,679, and above there, we should go back to at least the 38.2 fib up here. Okay, what normally happens as well in this zone, okay, there's a lot of back and forward in this zone. So what would normally happen is, okay, you'd either stay there at that 50%, and if we're going to keep going down, you might do a bit of that. If we get above this 50% level, then it'll be support, and we'll look for the 38.2 next. It's very unusual to just keep going through this 38.2. More often we would come back and retest this 50% before we go up again. And then you're looking for this level here in the middle to be support. Resistance becomes support before we go higher. Sometimes if you do blast through it, then you'll go up to the 236 fib, and then it'll be support, and you'll do like that. But yeah, above 14,769 would be bullish for SXP. Otherwise, that's resistance, and we stay in a downtrend. I think it looks all right, but let's see. Good luck. Spot gold. Let's look at spot gold. Okay, I'm going to go to my monthly chart for spot gold. Like this. We'll move this all the way down. Okay, on my monthly chart, where the RSI, by the way, is at 87. That's pretty high. I just want to point out that's pretty high for a monthly. We're up there. It's not the highest it's been. If we look at the weekly chart, where is the RSI? Not too bad. But you know, on the daily chart, the RSI is at 90. Okay, and we have not been at 90. Normally, we should expect a pretty bit of a pullback soon. I'm just saying. Let's go back to the monthly. Now, we are retesting these previous highs. I'm going to put regular candles on because when I use my fib projections, remember those fib projections where you use those 1.618, 2.618. I'm just going to put this on the left-hand side here so we can see it. This target level that we got to from the big correction in 1980 to 1999 to 2000, that was our projected level, that 2.618. We blasted through the 1.618. And look what happened. We had a really deep retrace. So now, remember, support becomes resistance. So I'm going to say staying above 1877 points us to the next fib level up. Okay. So now we could either, if I'm using this one, I'm going to say threes like this. And really this 4.236 up here is where I'm looking for. And now I'm going to put my fibs on this high to low, because we're probably looking for these now as well, aren't we? Projections from here. Make sure I've drawn them right. Okay. And so we can say that if we stay above this red line in terms of fib projections, our targets are much higher in gold, all the way up here at 21, between 2150 and 2200 is our first target zone, and the second target zone is between 2460 and 2498. So those are the two target zones, and I would shoot for the top one, okay? As long as we stay above this red line. So looking pretty good, aren't we? Now, how are we going to buy it? Because since I was looking for this 886 fib level to be a bit of resistance, and then maybe this one, and I think a lot of other people were as well, because we have literally had no real kind of a pullback since we got there. Like, since we blasted above this level, we've just gone in a straight line. Every time we pull back to this hourly 20 moving average, it's support, and we carry on higher. So support higher, this pink line. This is an hourly. So here we flattened out a bit, but if we make a new high here, that's the next leg up, isn't it? And that's what we'd be looking for. So gold is very close. And this is being driven by, you know, the weakening of the dollar and fiat currencies being weakened across the board, really. So, yeah, looking for this to continue higher. I expect shallow pullbacks because we're in quite a short squeeze. I'm going to stay bullish as long as we stay above 1877. And we're at 1941. So even if we did a big pullback, as long as we stay above 1877, I think we buy dips. Okay, and we're looking for the 2100s. Sorry, 2160, between 2160 and 2200. So even though it looks like gold is really overbought, I think it's got further to go. Now, there would be a problem with these previous highs. I think you might see a bit more downward pressure if we closed underneath them. People are going to be looking for these previous highs to hold as support. For me, it's a little bit lower, 1877. So still more to go. ERD, it's the last two because I'm really running out. I've got very sore throat. I'll just do these last two. Money, Doge, God, I'm not even going to look at Doge. I mean, it's funny, but then it's not really funny, is it? Like, if you want, anyway. Elrond. This is why I have Tuesday mornings off. So, okay, Elrond. Now, Elrond has been on a complete flyer. And then, kaplunk, it all came back. Let's see where we are with Elrond. Oh no, this is KNC. Done this one. Elrond, clicked the wrong one. We're going to start on the weekly chart with Elrond. This is regular candles. So the issue here for Elrond is we have not been able, remember, we put on our fib from this high to this low, and they give us our targets. 1272 at 240, 1.618 at 302, and then obviously we've got the 2.618 up here at 482. So far, we have not been able to close above this 240, 1272 level. So that's our major problem. Our support comes a little bit lower, 50% of this green candle. Are we going to come all the way back there on the weekly? I don't know. If we look at the daily, same pattern, can't close above 240, which is what we need to do. So this doji is not really very bearish. It's just indecision, volatile and indecisive. So hasn't been hit, you know, the way some of the others have. It feels like, here's the 1272 resistance, unless we can close above it, it feels like we're going to kind of come back and retest this previous high, I have to say, and then we'll look for some support there, and maybe a little bit lower. You can see the last hourlies, that 240, people are taking profit there, so I'm just going to do one more thing and measure, like, yeah, back to 197, and maybe one down to 191. That would be the 61.8 level. So that would be a nice bullish look in Elrond. So not quite ready to go up yet. Let's put it that way. If I go like that, okay, you could put an alarm on that trend line or alarm and above that level. That would tell you that Elrond's going up again, wouldn't it? So RLC is another one, very similar, had a really, really good run. Are we in a bigger correction? When I look at Elrond, yeah, that's got more to go. Let's look at RLC, because that was... Okay. I actually think that this one's on support. So this is a weekly chart of RLC against Bitcoin. We reversed, so I've got this most recent swing lower. I'm not sure these fibs are right, but they seem to be kind of working. If I was gonna, by choice, yeah, no, maybe not. See, I don't trust that spike. How many other have got RLC? See, maybe that's struggling with the fibs on this a bit, and it's only because, you know, I use like little fib rules to tell me where it's gonna come back to if we reverse there. didn't quite hit that 38.2. Didn't quite hit that, but 38.2 fib retracers, you know, can come back quite a long way. They could be quite fierce. Let's try and see where we are this way, and then maybe do some measuring. Good if it was the 61.8. It is the 61.8. It would be good if it was be something if we were just measuring this swing. Not so much. Okay. Well, the daily 50 moving average is a pretty strong moving average. If we go back and we look at, did it respect it before? You know, it kind of did. So potentially, this is another one where potentially we're at a level where we could find a bounce support. If we take the fibs away, we would say normally if you bounce from the 50 moving average, you're going to be looking to bounce back to the 20 moving average, and if you get above it, we're bullish. So we can say back above 12,000, we'd be bullish again. And this is a really good place to bounce from. A really good place to bounce from. If we look at the fib rules from the lows here, we are kind of looking even better because this is a 61.8. If we bounce from here, we would go back to this 50% level. If we can't get above that, we're still in a downtrend and we should look lower. If we do get above it, we're going to look for 13,564 and potentially that 236 fib and higher. So yeah, pretty good level. Again, this is another coin that's today hit a really good level, but we've only just hit it. We need more evidence that we've made a bottom. So the retest is the test. If we make a nice little 15-minute double bottom here, that would say, yeah, we're probably going to hold this level for a little bit. Then we'll see if we can get above the high in the middle. Then we can see if we get above this previous swing high. And then we'll switch up to the hourly and say, can we get above this previous hourly high up here? And then we can talk about reversing the trend and turning it around. So a really good level to watch for signs of a bullish reversal, but not quite the signs yet. So you're in at 83. Okay. All right, everyone. I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for coming. See you on Twitter or next week or for some updates.